Hello everyone and welcome to another Directions Mag Geospatial webinar, today sponsored by Geocortex. I'm Barbara Duke, Managing Editor here at Directions Magazine with our assistant webinar producer, Lynette Qualia. If you have any questions about your connection, just drop us a note in the chat. Thanks to the geospatial community for being our loyal readers for more than 20 years. Stop by directionsmag.com to get more news, webinars, and articles. We're standing by to take your questions today. Type those in the question box at any time during the webinar. Any questions that we cannot get to during our short Q&A at the end of the session, we will share those with the good folks over at Geocortex, and they'll get back with you personally. Snap a photo of any favorite screens you see with the little camera button there on your window. And just a reminder that we are recording today's webinar, so keep an eye on your inbox for more information. We appreciate your participation in the polls and the post-webinar survey. And today we are excited to share with you about controlling those mobile apps. We've got Patrick Fingler with us today from Geocortex, and he has got some great tips for you to get you more organized and efficient. So Patrick, we'll hand it over to you. We're glad to have you with us today. Excited to learn more and see how everything works. Thanks.
Thanks, Barbara. Yeah, my name is Patrick Fingler. I'm a technical sales specialist here at Geocortex, and today we're going to take a look at how you can streamline your mobile app creation using Geocortex technology. One thing I wanted to mention, Geocortex is actually a part of a suite of GIS products available from Vertigis, which is our parent organization. And our specific focus here at Geocortex is to enable our customers to accomplish even more with Esri's ArcGIS. We were established in 1999, so we were just over 20 years old. Our headquarters are in Victoria, Canada, which is where I'm currently situated. I'm working from home along with a lot of my staff and colleagues as well. We're Esri Platinum partners here, and we've got around 1,400 organizations worldwide that use Geocortex. And what's common across all those organizations is that they wanted to extend their ArcGIS technology. So they can use Geocortex technology to provide off-the-shelf web and mobile GIS technology to allow them to accomplish even more with their current investment in Esri's ArcGIS. We have as I mentioned, we've got a worldwide customer base across a variety of different verticals from local governments, oil and gas, utilities, etc. What's common across these organizations is they need to rapidly create both mobile and web GIS technology. These applications, for example, could range from doing fire hydrant inspections to valve maintenance to damage assessments. And they need a way to rapidly create these applications and create really defined workflows to ensure that the data that the field workers are entering is properly validated and is a really seamless and intuitive experience. Now you're probably asking, this is like, why Geocortex Mobile? There's already a ton of field operation applications within the ArcGIS space, and there are. Essential to using ArcGIS technology is the web map. And, Esri's created a variety of apps. You've got Explorer for ArcGIS, ArcGIS Quick Capture, Collector for ArcGIS, Survey 123 for ArcGIS, and, there's probably 3 others that I didn't even mention there. And each one of these are really good at their individual purpose. Where Geocortex Mobile kind of branches out is it also references the underlying web maps within the ArcGIS platform, but it's a framework that allows you to kind of do a lot of things in a single application, whether you need to read existing read-only data sets and add markup to those, collect field information, create smart forms, but have that all within a single application that's branded and available to your end users. That's when you're going to want to use Geocortex Mobile. I just want to pause here for a quick poll and just to gauge the audience, what types of field data collection apps are you currently using? Collector for ArcGIS, Explorer, Survey 123, Geocortex Mobile, or none of the above. So just curious to hear what the audience members are leveraging.
So we'll give folks just a moment or two to vote here.
Mm-hmm.
Click quickly, folks, and we'll get some idea. 2 more seconds, and it looks like the winner by just a smidge at 64% is Collector, and at 61% Survey 123 coming in second place. And a few none of the above.
Great.
So they need some great tools.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I imagine, yeah, a lot of folks on the line have played around with Collector, Survey 123. It's great that a lot of folks on the line probably haven't been introduced to Geocortex Mobile. I'm really excited to show you what it can do and how it can allow you to accomplish even more with your Esri technology.
Awesome.
So again, Geocortex Mobile, it's a framework for configuring and building custom mobile offline applications for the ArcGIS platform. So if you're running into limitations and you might have to do custom development or something like that, Geocortex Mobile allows you to go beyond and using a configuration framework. It's built on the latest ArcGIS runtime SDK for .NET. It allows you to work seamlessly online or offline, whether you're searching, filtering assets, doing inspections. It allows you to configure the look and feel of your apps using a web-based designer. And you can provide your field workers with these intuitive smart forms using Geocortex Workflow, which comes bundled with Geocortex Mobile. And I'll be touching a little bit about what Geocortex Workflow is in a little bit here. And finally, your field workers can access your mobile apps using Geocortex Go. This is an app that is free to download, available on the iOS Store, Google Play Store, as well as the Microsoft Windows Store as well. So with that, I want to dive into a demo here. So in this particular example, I'm going to be using some trees within the city of Victoria, and we're going to be doing a little tree inspection example. And I'm going to be taking on a couple of different personas. I'm kind of like a GIS analyst, my background's in GIS, and GIS analysts are responsible for rapidly creating these apps to serve their end users. We're also going to have some city staff who are working with these assets in the field and creating service requests when an issue occurs, a dispatcher who's responsible for assigning those service requests to a field engineer, and a field engineer who's going to actually complete that underlying work order. So with that, let's dive in. So before diving into that kind of scenario, I just want to give you a brief overview of some of the capabilities within Geocortex Mobile. So here I've launched Geocortex Go, which again, you can access from the Microsoft Store, Google Play Store, and the Apple iOS Store. And what we're viewing here is a web map that I have referenced from my ArcGIS Online, but could also be ArcGIS Enterprise as well. Here you can see we've got a variety of different layers, work orders, service requests, fire hydrants, trees, water mains, and so on. And again, this whole example that I show, I might be using trees here, but the same technology can be applied to virtually any asset or vertical. So as an end user, I can toggle on these layers on and off. I can search for data as well, but ultimately you're going to want a field data collection app that can work both online and offline. So if we navigate to the map areas tab here, we can see that I've got a couple of predefined map areas that have already been added, but as a field worker, I could also create a map area on the fly. So I can navigate to this particular area here. We can call it, I guess, Pandora Green, specify the level of detail that I need. And here I can define what base map I want to take offline. Do I want to take the underlying vector tiled base map within my web map, or maybe I've sideloaded a tile package so I can get more high resolution imagery. So here I'll select victoria.tpk, click create, and then here I could then download that on the fly when I have internet connectivity. I'm going to activate this neighborhood one, which here you can see I've also sideloaded a tile package. So we're kind of swapping out the base maps. And this allows my, my map area to be actually quite small. It's only 1.5 megabytes, and that includes just the feature data within this underlying map area. As a field worker, I'm now offline. I can continue to view my assets. I can do edits to them as well. So here I can just, for example, edit this tree. We could change maybe the height of it or something like that. Maybe it's grown. We'll just give this a second to load here. Just to show just an out-of-the-box edit, we'll adjust the breast height of it. And when I click save here, it's going to then tell me that I've done one offline edit. I can then send these changes and synchronize this once I have internet connectivity, or I can also update and pull new edits that other field workers may have performed as well. Additionally, you can also create new features as well. So here I've got a variety of different features I could create. For example, I might be interested in creating a new building, digitizing a new building, maybe in this location here. So I could select the point on the map if I wanted to, and I can start panning this around. So here I'm using our little point indication tool, and you can see I've got bearings displaying, but I can also, if I wanted to, I could remove using this crosshair, and I can just manually select the point on the map as well. And you can also snap these points to your geolocation. You can show measurements, and we also support undo and redo as well. Additionally, you can select an individual vertice if you wanted to, and drag that over to get more fine-grained adjustments as well. So I just wanted to show some of these editing capabilities that are just built right into the tool. I'm just gonna cancel out of that for right now. Additionally, you can search out of the box for your offline data. So here we've got a little search tool. Maybe I'm interested in all of the cherry trees within my map area. So if I search for cherry, this is going to apply a search and return all of the cherry plum trees. If you're interested in an individual asset, you could then enter in the asset ID and it would navigate to that location as well. Last but not least, if you want to extend Geocortex Mobile further, you can create your own customized workflows. So here we've got this I want to menu option, and I've added a couple of options here, like the ability to change the theme that the end user can visualize. So here we've got both dark themes and light themes that an end user can swap out on the fly for their user preference. And I've also added some other options like issuing a service request, investigating a service request, and more defined workflows that I'll be showing. So how does one actually build and create this application? Well, what you would do is you'd use the Geocortex Mobile Designer. This is a web-based designer that you log into with your ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise identity. Here you can see I'm logged in. You can download it and host it on your own server, or you can, which I'm doing here, but you can also access our SaaS infrastructure. Just go into apps.geocortex.com, and then this is a SaaS-based designer. You don't have to install anything, and you can immediately start creating these mobile apps for your end users. Once you have loaded up a mobile app template, you can see here there's these components that you can then customize to change the look and feel and define what tools are available to your end users. How you actually pull your data into your applications is by referencing web maps. Here you can see, because I'm logged in with my identity, I can see what web maps are within my content, what web maps have been shared with me, public web maps, and so on. And then you can start defining specific workflows or feature actions on these underlying layers. So here you can see you can set up specific workflows and commands for these layers and features. Additionally, you can define the branding of your application by default. So we've got different accent colors that you can leverage and different themes available as well by default. And if I go back to the I want to menu here, I can also add an additional workflow on the fly. So how you would add a new tool or workflow is by using this option here. We've got a variety of default commands available. So if you want to launch like the measurement tools or integrate with another native API or native app, you could leverage that. Or you can use our workflow technology. These are all the workflows that I've previously built. And we also have workflow templates to help get you started. So maybe you want to do a buffer, allow your field workers to find all of the assets around them. So here I'll call this buffer webinar identify and click create. And what I'm doing now is I'm creating a workflow using our Geocortex workflow technology based on this template. And this is essentially, if we open up Geocortex workflow, it's another web-based designer that, again, you log into with your ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise identity. And it's very similar to like Model Builder. Essentially, we provide these activities that allow you to string them together to build some type of a mobile process for your end users. They need to do any buffering, getting their field workers locations, doing some routing, feature editing, etc. We've got these activities. They accept inputs, generate outputs, and you can string them together to build a particular business process. And really central to this workflow technology are our display forms. So this is the actual end user experience that your field workers are going to be leveraging to do their work. And you can make these dynamic, interactive, and we've got a whole suite of different options available. Now, once you've created a workflow, it gets stored as an item back inside of your ArcGIS Online and portal, and you can define who has access to that. So if we go back, we can see that's been added. I can update the icon if I wanted to and save this. And then how my field workers actually retrieve these new updates is if we go back to Geocortex Go here, we can click I want to, refresh app, and this is going to pull my new theme that I added. So now we're seeing tiled icons. And if I go to the I want to menu here, we can also see we've got my buffer webinar identify workflow, which I've added. And here you can see I've got a nice form that I can then start modifying to make it more streamlined for my particular business process that I want to accomplish. I'm not going to run through this because I've got other examples to show, but I wanted to just show that process. So here you can see I've got some other more specific workflows. So here I'm going to take on the city staff persona. And I'm going to issue a service request. So what this workflow does is it allows me to select a layer of interest and assign a service request to that layer. If I wanted to assign a service request to a fire hydrant asset, I could use my geolocation, buffer my geolocation, and see if there's any hydrants within my geolocation. This hydrant is 72 meters away from me, so I could assign a service request on that. But in this scenario, let's work with some trees, use our geolocation, search for some nearby trees. And here you can see these are all of the trees, and I can again see the distance from my geolocation to each individual tree. So this is likely the tree that I would be wanting to inspect in this scenario. I can select it, and then I can start filling out a service request. So the form is getting my current username, my current email, the current date and time, and the workflow is also dynamically telling me what service request that I've selected. In this scenario, I might want to set this as low priority. We can say the tree needs to be trimmed. And I could either launch my on-device camera. So this is going to launch my camera here. You can see my little working from home setup here. And I could apply that. But optionally, I could also, if I wanted to, I could use a file picker as well and upload another image of a tree. Let's just create that service request now. And you can see that I've got an alert saying it's been created. And we've now created a service request using that tree geometry. So here we've now got our service request available. I've got the attachment that I just uploaded, and we've got my underlying feature data that I entered. Now, in that scenario, I ran a workflow from the I want to menu, but you can also run workflows from these individual feature actions as well. It sounded like a lot of folks on the line use Survey 123. So I just wanted to let you know that if you do have surveys, we can integrate with Survey 123. So here you can see I can create a work order using Survey 123. This will launch the survey. You're passing the feature geometry through as well as some of the information. I can say I'm assigning this to my colleague Colin Doak, and we can add some additional images or just submit that and send now. This is going to then create that survey. Now we're not going to see this here because we're currently in an offline map, but if I go online, let's just navigate and go online, we'll see that now there's a work order created at that location. And if we click on that work order, it's actually been published from Survey 123. So let's just select that work order, and we can see that Colin Doak is the assigned inspector. I'm gonna go back offline though, and instead create a workflow or use a workflow to create that work order. So rather than using Survey 123 in this scenario, because I have to kind of hop out to another application, I'm going to investigate the service request using a workflow. I'm just seeing the underlying data here. I could view the attachment if I wanted to, and it looks like a legit service request, so let's create a work order for it. And then I can define who I want to assign it to. I could, again, assign it to Colin, I could assign it to Aaron, or in this scenario, maybe myself. I can see what work orders have already been assigned. I can, again, say that the tree needs to be trimmed, create a work order, and now it's present inside of my offline map area, and we're also closing the service request as well. So now when I click on this, I'll just see the underlying tree and the work order asset. So that's how you kind of can create a work order. The next thing I want to show is completing that work order. So let's dive into our reflector application, and I'll see if I can mirror my phone screen here. Let's see. All right, that seemed to work. So here you can see I've now casted my phone screen onto the screen here, and immediately I've got Geocortex Go available. So again, it's available on iOS devices. You can see my GNSS, or sorry, my geolocations, not great on my phone right now, but we do support external GPS devices as well. If I wanted to, I could actually refresh this app, and we should see my new theme and branding being applied. And I can also change the theme to dark if I wanted to as well. Now let's go ahead and select a work order here. And if I wanted to complete this work order, you can see immediately I'm getting an alert saying that I need to be within 200 meters in order to perform this function. So using the workflow technology, you can actually set up these geofencing rules to ensure that your field workers have to be within a particular distance in order to actually edit or complete a process. If I was to select this particular work order here, I could complete it, and I could then upload a photo if I wanted to, or I can just click next here. Rather than saying that the tree needs to be trimmed, I'll say it has been trimmed. Click done. I could upload a photo, submit that, and the work order has now been completed. Additionally, though, we also have the ability to integrate with other native applications as well. I can select an asset here on the map, and here I can route to this particular tree asset. And here you can see I can choose the navigation app of interest. I could use Google Maps to route there. I can define my travel mode. There's a lot of bike lanes in Victoria, so maybe I want to bike to this particular asset. And here it's going to open Google Maps, and it's going to route me to that underlying asset. I could change that if I wanted to, or I could select even Waze or another navigation app, set it to driving, and click submit. And this is going to open up Waze and route me to this asset as well. Now, one thing worth mentioning is here I'm showing integration with these like navigation assets and so on, but what we also support is connecting to other third-party native apps as well. Not too sure why the Waze one's not working there, but that's fine as well. So again, any native app that you're using that accepts input parameters, you can connect Geocortex Mobile to as well. But ultimately, you know, I'd recommend using workflow to kind of enable your end users to get as much done within the app without having to jump from one app to another. So with that, I want to dive back into my slides here. I know I went through that demo pretty quick. There's a lot of capabilities that I showed, and I tend to get really excited about our technology. But yeah, we'll definitely have some time for questions. And if you want to learn more, we do have a lot of learning resources available. So we've got our Geocortex Documentation Center. You can just navigate to docs.geocortex.com. There's tutorials and documentation on Geocortex Mobile there. We also have a Geocortex Developer Center. So I mentioned Geocortex Mobile, it's a framework. You know, you can really create very purpose-based apps. And 90% of what you can do, you can use out-of-the-box capabilities, or extend that with our workflow technology, which I showed. But if you are a developer, there is an underlying SDK, so you can add your own custom components and capabilities. Now, I don't do that, but definitely if you have developers, we also have a professional services team that can help in that respect. We have some Geocortex tech tip videos available. They're just on our YouTube channel. They're 2 to 5 minutes long, really easy to digest, and you can learn a little bit more about both Geocortex Mobile and Geocortex Workflow. And we do have some training, dedicated 2-day training courses available for Geocortex Workflow. And we've got a training course for Geocortex Mobile just around the corner as well. So thank you all for joining me, and thank you, Barbary and Directions Mag, for hosting this. Again, my name is Patrick Fingler. If you have any additional questions, feel free to email me directly. But with that, I think we've got about 5 minutes for questions.
Absolutely. So let's start with, what are the different methods for taking data offline? Do you support mobile map packages?
Sure, yeah. So if I go back here, you can see here there's this map areas tab. So I guess probably the most common way to take your data offline is by creating administrator defined map areas on the web map itself. So that would be like the top 5 most common map areas that your field workers will need to take. But also your field workers can also create their own map areas on the fly. We also support this process using Geocortex Workflow. So you could also run a workflow from like the I want to menu that gets the username of the user, and then creates a map area and shows only the work orders that have been assigned to that work order in a very customized extent. So that's also possible as well. In regards to mobile map packages, we do support those. It's very similar to sideloading a TPK. So here I've got a TPK-based map. It would be the same process where you sideload that onto your mobile device ahead of time, and then Geocortex Mobile can reference that mobile map package. So yeah, there's a variety of different ways.
Excellent. Do you support high precision GNSS devices?
Yes, we do. So yeah, here you can see my accuracy is quite poor. So one way to get better accuracy is by connecting an external GNSS or GPS device. Currently, right now, we support the Trimble R1 and R2 units for Windows and Android. And we also support the EOS Aero devices for Windows, Android, and iOS, but we're continuing to add more support for additional devices.
Excellent.
Let's just see. Yeah. Just going to pop out and see if there's other ones. Not seeing it. Oh, here's some other questions. Okay, so does the offline editing require versioning for the geodatabase? No, it does not. You can use versioning or archiving. Is Portal required to use Geocortex Go? No, it is not. You can use ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise, so either or. But that's essentially how we pull in the data, is by using an Esri identity, and your field workers would be logging in with a Esri identity. You need editor or field worker level ArcGIS user. So you can actually use you don't need to buy additional field worker licenses. You can use the same editing level user licenses to use Geocortex Mobile. That might provide you with some savings. Is Creator required to build the apps? I believe so. As the GIS analyst who's actually creating the applications, you do need to have a level 2 user, because you're actually storing these apps as items inside of your portal or ArcGIS Online. Did you already have a Survey 123 survey set up before creating the work order? So yes, I did create that Survey 123 configuration using Survey 123. It's a very simple survey, but yes, that was already created, and then I wired it up so Geocortex Mobile passed information to that survey. And again, in this scenario, I was using Survey 123, but it could be any kind of native application that accepts inputs. Are there limited tools in Workflow 5 for offline? Yes, so maybe there's a number of customers on the line. So here, this is the Workflow Designer. These are all of the activities available. You can filter these activities though. So there's this deployment tab. You can deploy workflows inside of Web App Builder, our HTML5 viewers, and our other viewer, Geocortex Web. But here I've enabled it so it's just for Geocortex Mobile, and you can even say the workflow needs to run when my field workers are offline, and then this will filter the workflow. So yeah, some of the activities won't work when you're completely disconnected, like the send web request activity, because that requires an internet connectivity, but you can still buffer, get your field workers locations, query layers, and so on, do feature editing. Yeah, so that's all available as well. All right, yeah, we can probably call it there. Are you able to integrate work orders into other enterprise systems? Yeah, likely we could do that. Definitely if you were completely online, we could do that. I think if you were offline, we would likely have to have native app-to-app communication in order for that to work, but definitely something that we could look into for sure for you, as a lot of our customers do work with asset management systems. All right, I think that's pretty much it for the questions there.
All right. Well, thanks, Patrick. It's great information. And listen, folks, if we are out of time today, and if they did not get to your question, they will follow up with you personally. Also, maybe Patrick, if you could show us one more time that email address, just in case people had burning questions
definitely.
that they desperately needed to ask you.
There we go.
Let's get that shared for them. Wonderful. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. We really appreciate you attending. Just a reminder to keep an eye on your inbox. We will share the recording and appreciate your input on the survey on the way out. Also, attendance certificates are available for you in that email. We appreciate Patrick and their team over at Geocortex for sharing their expertise and supporting the great efforts here at Geospatial Webinars, and hope that everyone will go out and make it a great day and tell a friend about Geocortex and Directions Magazine. Thanks, everybody.